I said, "Take your hands off me," she growled. Her back slammed against the cold concrete wall, but her voice didn't shake and her eyes didn't flinch. Every woman in that prison corridor froze. Even the guards who had seen it all stepped back, unsure what they were witnessing, because no one, not even seasoned criminals, ever spoke to Superintendent Rana like that. It was nearly midnight when she arrived. No cuffs, no warning. Just a silent convoy, a sealed file, and orders from the top. She stays in Block C. No one enters, no one questions. To the other inmates, she was just another pretty face in a striped uniform. But the way the guards stiffened when she walked past, the way Rana himself came down to inspect her cell, they knew something was off. Her name was Arya. And within 24 hours, everyone knew not to mess with her. But that didn't stop Rana. He hated unpredictability. And Arya, she was unpredictability. She refused to eat, refused to speak, and stared right through the walls like she was counting down to something. So when she shoved her tray into the guard's chest that night and demanded to speak to whoever thinks they run this circus, Rana took it personally. That's how they ended up face to face in the hallway, eyes locked, tension like a tripwire between them. Rana pushed back, not with words, but with force. The kind that makes everyone else go silent. The kind that says, "I own this place." But Arya didn't back down. Instead, she whispered, "Touch me again and you'll regret it. Like your daughter did." The blood drained from his face. The guards gasped. The inmates stared in horror. Because no one was supposed to know about his daughter, let alone what happened to her in this very prison. But Arya knew, because Arya wasn't just an inmate, she was an undercover IAS officer. Sent in after 3 women had committed suicide in Rana's custody, including his own daughter, who had been arrested after exposing corruption in the education ministry. Arya had requested the assignment herself because the last thing Rana's daughter whispered to her before dying in custody was, "They'll silence me." But not her. She's watching. Arya was watching, and now she was inside the belly of the beast. Midnight wasn't a coincidence. It was strategy. No eyes, no witnesses, just her and the truth. And now that she had Rana cornered, the real game began. From that moment, Arya made the prison her stage. She refused orders. She exposed secret tunnels. She handed a guard a USB drive hidden in her shampoo bottle, filled with footage of beatings, forced confessions, and worse. Every woman who had suffered under Rana's regime began to speak. Not because they trusted Arya, but because they believed her. She had risked everything, her name, her badge, her safety, for them. And then, 3 days later, just before dawn, government officials stormed the prison. The sealed file, it was a trap. Hidden cameras in her cell, audio recorders in her bunk. Everything broadcast live to the Home Ministry. Rana was dragged out in handcuffs, screaming, sweating, defeated. The same hallway where he once ruled with fear, now echoed with applause. The inmates clapped. The guards stood frozen. The same women who once flinched at his footsteps now stood tall behind Arya. She didn't smile. She didn't gloat. She just looked at his face and whispered, "Your daughter didn't die for nothing." And then she walked out, free. Not just from the prison, but from the guilt that had haunted her ever since that girl was buried without justice. As the doors clanged shut behind Rana's convoy, Arya stepped into the cold morning air. The first rays of dawn weren't warm. They were sharp, like the truth slicing through darkness. The twins of grief and vengeance that had lived within her heart now stood silent. She reflected on her own story, how she lost someone too. Her younger brother, framed, forgotten, spent years rotting in a cell just like this. She swore she'd never stand idle when power corrupted innocence, when the system protected the powerful, when silence meant death for someone small. Walking away from the prison gates, she passed by the inmates who reached out quietly. Some nodded, some whispered, "Thank you." None touched her. They knew this was bigger than them, bigger than any one cell. She had done what they couldn't. She had given them a voice. She had given them hope, the quiet promise that someone sees them, that someone hears them, that someone fights for them. In a nearby cafe, she sat alone, letting the night slip off her shoulders. A barista placed coffee in front of her. She didn't stir, she didn't drink. She just stared out the window, watching life rush past, students, families, people free. And she thought of Rana's daughter, of the 3 women who died, of her brother who still waited. She promised herself this wasn't the end. The file she uploaded, the broadcast, the arrests, all were starting points, not finish lines. Because real strength isn't in uniforms or titles, it's in sacrifice, in truth, in standing up when everyone else stays silent. Because the system will protect the powerful, until someone powerful enough dares to break the system. Arya didn't do it for fame, she did it for justice, for pain transformed into purpose, for the little ones in striped uniforms who deserve more than being invisible, for everyone locked inside a wall of fear. When she finally left the cafe, she didn't look back. She didn't need to. The ripple had begun. Silence was no longer their sentence. The sleeping giant of accountability had awakened. And in the halls of power somewhere, new fear was stirring, the kind that justice brings. Before we end this story, let us know in the comment where are you watching from. If this story moved you, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment and subscribe for more powerful stories like this one. You never know, the next one might just change your life.